We live in a time of shifting gender roles, a time when traditional notions of masculinity are being questioned and redefined. This cultural shift has led to confusion and even anger among some men, leaving them searching for an identity in a world that seems increasingly hostile to their perceived role. This crisis of masculinity has given rise to a dangerous phenomenon: toxic masculinity. This distorted view of manhood glorifies aggression, dominance, and emotional suppression. It is a breeding ground for misogyny, violence, and a host of social ills that harm both men and women. The internet and social media have amplified the reach of toxic masculinity, giving a platform to figures like Andrew Tate, who peddle harmful stereotypes about male superiority and female submission. These voices resonate with a segment of men who feel lost and disillusioned, seeking validation and purpose in a world that often feels confusing and unfair. However, the answer to this crisis is not to retreat further into harmful stereotypes or to embrace anger and aggression as solutions. Instead, it is time to reclaim a vision of masculinity that is both strong and compassionate, one that draws inspiration from the teachings of Jesus Christ. This essay explores the stark contrast between toxic masculinity and the biblical model of manhood exemplified by Jesus. It delves into the life and teachings of Christ, highlighting his revolutionary approach to power, his unwavering compassion for the marginalized, and his deep respect for women. This essay seeks to offer a path for men seeking to navigate the complexities of modern manhood, urging them to embrace authenticity, empathy, and a strength that is rooted in love, not dominance. Toxic masculinity, a term gaining increasing recognition in recent years, represents a distorted and harmful view of what it means to be a man. It promotes aggression as the ultimate proof of manhood, equating emotional vulnerability with weakness and placing a premium on dominance over women. This toxic ideology seeps into various aspects of society, from casual jokes and locker room talk to systemic discrimination and violence against women. Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed lifestyle guru with a massive online following, embodies many of the traits associated with toxic masculinity. He preaches a gospel of material wealth, sexual conquest, and the subjugation of women, amassing a fortune by packaging misogyny as male empowerment. His rhetoric, laced with violence and disdain for women, has found a receptive audience among men struggling with insecurity and a lack of purpose. The danger of figures like Tate lies in their ability to normalize harmful behaviors and attitudes. They create a culture where disrespect towards women is not only acceptable but celebrated, contributing to a climate where sexual harassment, assault, and domestic violence are far too common. The allure of toxic masculinity, particularly for young men, often stems from a desire for belonging and validation. In a world where traditional notions of masculinity are being challenged, some men cling to these harmful stereotypes as a source of identity and purpose. This is a dangerous path, one that leads to pain, brokenness, and a perpetuation of the very problems it claims to solve. In stark contrast to the aggression and dominance championed by toxic masculinity, Jesus Christ offers a radically different vision of manhood. His life and teachings stand as a powerful antidote to the poisonous narratives that pervade our culture, revealing a strength that is rooted in humility, compassion, and self-control. Jesus, despite being God incarnate, consistently defied societal expectations of power and dominance. He chose to embrace humility, washing the feet of his disciples, a task typically reserved for the lowliest servant. He preached love for one's enemies, forgiveness for those who wronged him, and compassion for the outcast and marginalized. His strength was not found in physical prowess or the subjugation of others, but in his unwavering commitment to truth, justice, and love. He faced persecution and ultimately death on a cross with remarkable courage and composure, not because he sought to prove his masculinity through violence, but because he chose to remain faithful to his mission of redemption. The Gospels offer numerous examples of Jesus' interactions with women, interactions characterized by respect, empathy, and a recognition of their inherent dignity. In a culture where women were often relegated to the margins of society, Jesus treated them as equals, engaging them in theological discussions, valuing their perspectives, and challenging societal norms that diminished their worth. One striking example is Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well. This woman, ostracized by her own community and burdened by her past, found acceptance and forgiveness in her conversation with Jesus. He saw beyond her social standing and past mistakes, recognizing her humanity and offering her living water, a symbol of spiritual renewal and hope. In another instance, Jesus intervened on behalf of a woman caught in adultery, challenging the hypocrisy of those who sought to condemn her. He defended her dignity and offered her forgiveness, reminding those present that all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. These encounters, and many others documented in the Gospels, reveal a consistent pattern of respect, compassion, and a deep understanding of the challenges faced by women in a patriarchal society. Jesus' example stands in stark contrast to the misogyny and objectification that characterize toxic masculinity, offering a model of manhood that is both strong and compassionate, affirming the dignity and worth of all people, regardless of gender.